Hello everyone, welcome to another video. But before we move on with this video, I would like to thank you all for supporting my channel. We have finally crossed 200 subscribers mark. So just like that, please keep subscribing to my channel, hit that like button and also share with as many friends as possible so that they can also get information on different company interview processes and different coding problems. I know I haven't uploaded a video from a long time, but the reason for it was that because I was writing exams and I had a very busy semester. So I did not have a time to shoot a video, edit the video and upload a video. But don't worry, now that I'm back, I'll try my best to upload the quality videos on time. And thank you very much to those that have been commenting in the comment box. I have been actively replying to their comments, and please keep commenting and do let me know what kind of videos you would like to see in the future. I would like to inform you that there is an exciting announcement waiting for you at the end of the video. So stay tuned until the end of the video. Coming back to the topic of Amazon interview process, the video is structured as follows. First, I will walk you through the platform through which you will be applying at Amazon for the interview. And then what will happen after you have been selected for the interview, what kind of different rounds you'll be going through at interview process at Amazon. So let's begin. So in order to apply at Amazon in South Africa, Amazon does not use their own website to do the job recruitment. Rather, they use a third-party website to do so. So for this year, they posted their internship and their software development job recruitment statement on a website called, let me inform you from now, I do not know how to pronounce this website, right? You can see the spelling down on the screen, but the way I call it is, I think, something like Xuma, right? So if you know how to pronounce it properly, please do let me know in the comment box below. And please don't judge me for it. Xuma is a great platform because not only Amazon, but other companies like Toyota, Takealot, and many more also uses them to post their bursary and their job-related status. Once you visit the website, I've put the link of the website in the description below. You will be greeted by this homepage. By the way, I really like the interface of the homepage as it is very simple. Then you simply click on Get Started. You will be greeted by this page. Then what you'll do is just enter your name, surname, email address and the phone number and register yourself. I already have one created, so I'll straight head to the login page. And then I'll just enter my email and log in. Once you enter your email, they'll simply enter your one-time PIN and then you will be greeted by the home page. Once you're on the home page, they will ask you to enter your full name, your ID number, your transcript from university and high school. And once you are done with that, they will ask you to describe yourself. So let's go and visit my profile. As you can see in my profile, I will scroll through that. You can have a look at it. And if you want to read through to get an idea on how to write this, then you can simply pause this video to read through it. I've spent a lot of time to make this profile because it requires a lot of research on how to write it. So I do not mind you getting inspiration from it. Some things I have blurred them because they are personal information. Once you have gone through this, let's go back. Now that if you want to apply for bursaries or any kind of job opportunities, then all you have to do is simply go and click on bursary actions. As you can see, here they will display all the bursaries that are available to you and all the jobs. As you can see, previously I applied for Toyota and Takealot as well as Amazon itself. So I accepted from the Amazon, that's why I declined Toyota and Takealot. So this year it shows that these are my previous applications and I no more have any applications because I haven't applied through it. Once you are done with this now and you have selected for your coding interview or your interview process itself, now you will go in and give your interview. So let's go back and tell you more about what you'll do in your interview processes. So now that you have created your profile using the third-party website and you have applied for Amazon, congratulations for being called for the interview process at Amazon. So the interview process at Amazon comprises of 3 rounds. First round being the coding round, second round which is the behavioral round, and the third round which is the Amazon Principal Leadership round. So these 3 rounds are not in any order because some have been tested on coding round first, some have been testing on behavioral second, some have been tested on leadership third, while some have been tested coding in the end while the behavioral first. So don't expect them to be interviewed at the same time, right, in the order that I've mentioned. So each of this round will be interviewed by different individuals. So if you go to coding, person A will be testing you. If you go for behavioral, person B will be testing you. And if you go for the Amazon Leadership Principle, person C will be testing you. So each round consists of 1 hour. So the max time they'll take in each round is 1 hour. But if the interviewer really likes you, they'll keep asking you those hard questions and they'll make sure that they'd go over time. So at most you can expect your time to go between 3 and 3.5 hours max. So let's begin with our interview processes and finally see what kind of question they ask in each round. So let's begin with number 1, the coding round. So in the coding round, the interviewer will ask you what computer language you are more efficient in, or in which language you are most comfortable in to give this interview. So my personal recommendation for choosing a language, it's either Java, Python, C++ or C#. The reason why I selected these languages is because these are one of the top languages when coming to computer languages. And Amazon also uses many of these languages. So this increases your chance of getting hired. Right? So all the questions that I've picked in this, please keep note that I haven't gotten them from internet, but rather I personally went to the people who have interviewed at Amazon and I've bought these questions. So if not all, you can expect some of these questions to be asked in the interview process when you go and give an interview. Also, please keep note that I will not be providing you a solution to these problems, but don't worry, I'm working on a video where I'll try my best to provide the coding solution as well as the theory solutions that are asked in the interview processes. These questions include theory as well as practical questions, not only practicals. So when you go and give a coding exam, it's not only interview where they ask you about different coding things, right? They'll be asking you practicals as well as theory. So the questions are as follows. I will only explain you the questions. I will not give you the solution. So what are the questions? The first question being, how long have you been coding? So in these questions, what they're requiring from you is just tell them the duration you have been coding for and also tell them your experience with coding. Moving on to the next question, have you ever worked with a team when developing an app or a website? So in this question, all they're trying to ask is, have you ever worked with a team when developing an app or a website? So what they want from you is tell them your experience when you worked with a team, when you developed an app and website. What did you experience? What did you learn? What you did not know before, but then you learned while you were doing that. So this is the kind of thing they want in this question. The next question is a practical question. So the third question they'll ask you is, how will you solve a palindrome problem? So first let me explain you what a palindrome problem is. A palindrome problem is provided a string, right? They give you a string, check whether if it is the same, if it is inversed, right? Or if it is reversed. So let's say I provide you with a string 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. If I reverse this, what does it give me? It still gives me 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. So it means it is a palindrome. So write a program which will tell you whether if a provided string is a palindrome or not. Moving on to the next question. The fourth question is, check for parentheses in a BODMAS rule. So you know we all have been struggling through BODMAS rule from primary time, right? You remember BODMAS, bracket of division, multiplication, addition and subtraction, right? So it does use a lot of brackets, right? Rather whether it's been a square bracket or maybe it's an open parenthesis, whatever it can be, right? Our teachers have been telling us to follow this. Here Amazon is testing you on it. So what do you have to do in this? So let's take for instance an example, right? We got an open bracket, then a number, then we have an open bracket, then we add two numbers and then we finally close the brackets, right? We can see on the left hand side we got two open brackets, right? And then on the right side we got two closing brackets. So what this program will do, it will check if you have two open brackets, it means you should have two closed brackets. If they are not present, it means that this BODMAS is not balanced. It means it is invalid. So all that you have to return. The next question, it's kind of like if you know your definition, you don't have to provide a definition, but your explanation on this. They'll ask you what is a thread, right? So in a computer program, there's something called a thread, right? You use something to do something simultaneously, right? So you have to go and provide what the thread is. The next question they ask is, how and when will you use thread? So tell them your understanding of thread, when you will use it, how you will use it, and why you will use it. Try to be as brief as possible when you are doing your interview process, right? So if they ask you whether be it a theory or a practical exam, just tell them what they are looking for, right? Rather give them more information so that they know that you understand what's happening, right? Then they tell you to differentiate between threading and multi-threading. So here you need to know what is the difference between threading and multi-threading, right? One does the work simultaneously at one time, the other one does many tasks at one time, right? So you need to know a proper example, a proper explanation of what is a threading and what is a multi-threading. Moving on to the next question. The next question is, this is the most popular questions. Doesn't matter wherever you go and give an exam, right? You go anywhere for the interview process, they will certainly ask you this question, right? And the question is, how do you reverse a string, right? So provided I give you a string called ABC, right? How will you go and reverse this string? So you need to go and write a code where after your code has been ran, you provide an output which will give CBA, because the reverse of ABC is CBA, right? So moving on to the next question. The next question will be about, provided an integer, tell whether it is an odd number or even number. So what this question is trying to say is, let's say they give you an integer. Let's say number 5, right? Now, is number 5 odd or even? You know it's an odd number, right? Now your program should go through that number, it should input that number and then tell whether if that number is even or odd. So these are all the questions that they might ask you at interview at Amazon when you're going to give a coding round. So please be prepared for it and make sure you know solution to each of this. And as I said before also, do not only give them what they're asking, right? Try to explain what you are trying to do. So let's say, for instance, if you're giving a coding problem, right? And you're trying to solve a coding problem, before you go and attempt that problem, don't just sit and keep quiet and just keep thinking what to do, right? Tell them what you're trying to think. Tell them the process that you are going through. So for instance, if I have to go and do the problem of the reverse string, right? What I'll do is I'm trying to think that I have to loop through each and every, let's say, each and every value in an array, right? So a string. And then what I'll do is I'll go through that array and make sure that I swap the positions, right? So I'm telling them what I'll be doing in that process. So tell them what's happening rather than keeping quiet. It tells them that you know what's going on and it shows that you are involved in this process, right? So now let's move on to round 2, which is your behavioral round. Before we move on to the behavioral questions, I would like to first recommend you to this great channel. His name is Richard Mackman, and then he gives you a lot of questions on behavioral questions. He tells you how to answer them. I think you might have come across him on Facebook, Instagram, because he's quite famous now. I have been watching him from a long time and preparing myself for behavioral questions. So take tips and advice from his videos. And if you are thinking, no, this video is not sponsored by him, I'm just recommending you his videos so that you can get ahead with preparation of interview processes. Before we move on to the list of questions, I would like to tell you that the questions that I'm going to provide you, they might not come exactly the way they are, because behavioral questions are used to judge yourself, right? So they are judging your personality, what kind of a person you are, if you are the right fit for the company or not. Behavioral questions allow them to see whether if you are the perfect fit for the company or not, because this is the most important round. Companies use behavioral questions to test their employees whether if they are fit for this role or not. So it is a very important round. So go and watch his video and see what kind of tips he has to give you. So I'll only give you the most common questions that they might ask you. The first question being, doesn't matter whatever the company is, whatever the country is, it is definitely going to be there, which is, tell me about yourself. So in this question, when they ask you, tell me about yourself, what they're asking you is, just go and describe yourself. So tell them your full name, the degree you have done, from where you have done, and from where you are. Then go on to tell them your strengths and your weaknesses, and that's it. Just tell them all those things in details so that they can get to know you. Because what happens is, not all the HRs that are sitting in front of you have read your CV in detail. What happens is, you get sometimes selected by the automated computers, right? And then they read through your CV just in a brief and you go answer there, right? So it's very important to describe yourself when they ask you about yourself. So that is the first question. What is the next question? The next question is, why would you want to work for Amazon? So in this question, all they are looking for you is, do you know this company well? So get to know about the specialties about that company, right? What kind of services they offer, right? And then you need to tell them everything in detail about the company. Tell them about your experience, what you're going to bring to the table, and tell them that the experience that you'll be gaining from working at this company will be really pleasurable, right? So let's move on to the next question. The next question is, so these are a list of questions which I'm going to give you, and I will explain you at the end because they all correlate to each other, right? So question 3 is, tell me about a time when you dealt with a difficult customer. Next question, tell me about a time when you dealt with a difficult client. Next customer, tell me about a time when you worked on a project and you didn't know what to do, and how did you handle that situation. Next question, tell me about a time when one of your team member was being weird, right? They were not doing the work that they were supposed to do. How did you handle such a situation, right? Tell me about a time when you took a project even though you had a lot in your pocket, right? So you were having a lot of work, but still you accepted the project from others, right? Tell me about a time you came across a problem and how you dealt with it. So now all the questions that I've listed now, they all relate with your experience and that you have gone through, right? So if you have worked in a uni, in a group project or something like that, what happens is you can tell them about the project, you can tell them about what happened during the project and describe how you came across that problem and how you came with the solution to that problem and what you did during that problem, right? So what happens is it's very dependent upon everyone's experience, right? Like with me, I was lucky that from the time of my high school, I've worked in a different backgrounds in different companies, right? So I've worked in a grocery shops, I've worked in clothing shops. So when they asked such questions, it was really helpful for me to provide them with the solution that they were looking for, and it was easy for me. And the other tip that I would like to give you when asking a behavioral question is, please do not lie in behavioral questions. Tell them what the truth is, right? And when you're answering this question, it is very important to note, it's very hard to create the solution while you're giving this, right? So what will you do? You will have to note down the question that I've given you. You can see the list of the questions. Answer these questions according to your experience, according to the videos you have watched, and then come with your own solution and just know them how you're going to answer them rather than cramming the answers. So you at least have an idea how you're going to be presenting a certain type of questions if they ask you. So it's going to get easier for you to ask a behavioral question, because the worst thing with behavioral question is this can get quite complicated. You answer one thing, and upon that one thing they can ask you another question. You answer that, and on top of that question answer, they'll ask you one more question. So it's very dependent on how the opposite person is going to ask you, how that interviewer is going to ask you. So please be very careful when you answer these questions and do not lie, because if you lie and they catch you on that, they'll be like, okay, tell me about that, wherever you lied. Now you'll be confused on how to answer that, right? So rather come up with a solution, pre-selection, and make sure you know how you're going to answer it. And if you're going to answer, come up with a question like, if I answer it this way, what if they ask me this question? Stay ready to answer that question, right? So that's all for the behavior round. Let's move on finally to the last round, which is the Amazon leadership principle round. If you did not know, Amazon have 14 leadership principles. Yes, you heard it correct, which they try to follow, and this can be found on their website. The link to the website will be provided in the description below. So make sure you know each and every leadership principles here. It's not just about knowing the leadership principle, but rather try and understand the leadership principle, what every principle is trying to say. When they say customer obsession, what it means. So on their website, if you see and you go and read, it is not explained in that detail. So I'll provide you one more channel, right? But the language they use is a very multilingual language, right? So they're using English and Hindi together, but they do have the English explanation on top. You'll see it, right? Go and watch that video and try to understand every leadership principle from that video. And if you're able to understand that, go and think about how you're going to apply this leadership principle in whatever platform you have worked, right? Or whatever app you have worked on, whatever website you have worked on, whatever project you have worked on, right? So what kind of question they can ask? So they can ask things like, tell me about few Amazon principles. So in this, what you'll do is, obviously you need to know these Amazon principles, right? And then try to elaborate on it, try to explain what their principle means, right? And then once you do that, tell them how you enroll that into your own life, right? Like for me, when I went for the interview, what they asked me was, what do you understand by the principle think big? right? And how did you enroll that leadership into your role when you worked on a project? So first, it was very important for me to know that what the think big is, right? Unfortunately, the video that I'm telling you that I'll share in the description below, I did went through that and I did know what think big means, and I did tell them what think big is, and then I'll told them how I did use think big in terms of my project, and that's it. So this round is very much depend on if you know their leadership principle or not, and depending on that they'll judge you. So make sure you know the 14 leadership principles and make sure that you are able to answer what they mean and understand them rather than cramming them what they mean, right? Because their website don't provide everything in detail. Okay, so I'll provide a video in the description below. Just follow that video. I know it's a multilingual language is used, but it's okay, just go and see because they've used English on top. Okay, so these are the different rounds and different questions in each round which will be asked when you go for an interview at Amazon. So don't be worried about it. Make sure you watch the video. If you do not understand anything, make sure to watch the videos repeatedly and try to understand what I mean. If you are still confused, you can feel free to just type in a comment box whatever you feel like, right? Tell me what you're confused about and I'll try to help you with that. If you want me to create more videos like that, do let me know, and what kind of videos you want, do let me know that as well. So coming to the exciting announcement that I spoke of in the starting of the video, while I was busy with my semester, I came across few of my friends who were busy with interview process on different companies. So they were really stressed about their interview processes. They were really stressed about how they're going to do, because they didn't know what kind of questions that will be asked, what kind of coding problems that will be asked, how much information they have to know, what kind of questions they have to focus on. So they were always worried, and when they used to go and come back, some of them were like, I didn't know this was going to be asked. So seeing that, I have decided that I'm going to start a series of interview questions on different companies. What I'll do is I'll reach out to few of the employees in the companies that I know of, right? Or if you want me to create on a different companies, please do suggest me in the comment box below. I'll reach out to those employees and ask them about the questions that were asked to them, and I'll bring those information to you and create more videos on how to go and answer questions on different companies, what kind of questions they'll be asking you, and what you can expect and what salary can you expect. So I'll be going and making that series. Please do not forget to subscribe to my channel to get such a content. Like the videos and share with your friends as well, so they can also get such a information, and when they go for their interview process, they come with a success. Until next time, please stay safe and keep coding.